as official visits get started for Indiana basketball this week. If you want to land those recruits, it's now or never.
You are Locked On Hoosiers, your daily podcast on the Indiana Hoosiers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in. It is the Locked On Hoosiers podcast. I'm your man, Jacob Goins. I appreciate you being here, making this your first listen each and every day. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which is your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Ultimate College Football HC. It's a brand new mobile game that is completely free, has no ads, and 100% playable offline. Use the promo code LOCKEDONCollegeFootball, all caps, inside the game store to receive a free boost to your program. Begin your coaching legacy today. Well, hope you all had a fantastic weekend. Happy Monday. Thank you so much for being here, making this your first listen, your first watch every single day, and happy game week. That's right. College football is here. We had week 0. We've got week 1. We'll have more on that today. We'll have more on that this week as well. But happy game week to all you Hoosier football fans. We're going to start with basketball, though, and this is a very important time. While there is a football game this weekend, there's also official visiting getting going this weekend, and a huge visitor to start things off. We'll talk about him and the entire list on the show today. But I think it's plain and simple. Now that your official visits are starting, and now that it's time for Indiana to start bringing these kids in and making their big final pitch, if you want to land them, Mike Woodson, it's now or never. And here's why. These kids are going on big-time visits because Indiana's going after big-time players. I mean, we're talking about other programs in the mix here of UConn and Kentucky and Kansas and Duke and Michigan and all of these big name programs, right, that Indiana's sought after recruits are taking visits to, having conversations with, whatever the case may be. And so if you're Indiana, a few things have to happen right now. When you get them on campus, whether that be Haralson this weekend, Mullins and Sisley a few weeks from now, or even if you do happen to land a visit from Native Mint, here are the things that have to happen. First of all, you've got to impress. You've got to put on your best showing, your best performance, your best game when they show up. You want to be real, right? You don't want to put on such a big show that it's fake. But you do want to show them, hey, this is why Indiana is great. This is why Indiana is the place for you to be, with our facilities and our people and our program and our coaches and our other players and our campus and our school and our classes and the town, like all of those things into one. You have to have that right now on these visits because most of these guys have been here before and they're coming for their big time official visit, one time, show me what you got type of thing. And because of that, you're going up against all the other big-time programs who are doing the exact same thing, right? Braylon Mullins took his UConn visit. It went very well, from what I'm told. Went very, very well. So you have to overcome that as well. But you also just have to put all your chips in the middle of the table and say, here we go. One last hoorah. One last chance that we land whoever the player is. And I think it's now or never for a lot of these guys because there are so many good programs who have just as much to offer as Indiana does. Now, it's becoming a known factor that we are competitive in the NIL realm, and now we've got to be competitive on the floor. Now we have to be competitive in all of the other areas too, because while NIL is still a really big factor, and it's still a new factor, but a big one, it's not everything, believe it or not, which I know is crazy to say sometimes, but it's not everything. And so Indiana's got to prove that whenever you show up, whoever you are, point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, or center, our system's going to work for you. You have to show them that. You have to show them that you can win games. You have to show them that you can make them better, compete for championships, and ship them off to the next level, to the NBA. You have to prove that to them. And right now, starting this weekend, basically through October, you've got one big shot. This is it. This is your one chance to land the best players in the 2025 class, guys that you've been on for a long, long time. I mean, some of these guys, you've been on them since the day they entered high school. Like, you've done the hard part up to this point. You've done the grit work. You've done the dirty stuff. You've done everything you needed to do to get to this point. Now you've got to impress, and you've got to seal the deal, come in and close it out, right? That's what you have to do if you're Mike Woodson and this entire assistant coaching staff. And we're going to look at the entire list of official visitors in the next segment here, but it starts this weekend with Jalen Haralson. He comes in this weekend for opening weekend of college football, right? And we've talked about how important that is, how cool that is, the fact that Indiana is able to secure a big-time recruit basketball visit during a football game. And so, again, I shout out to you Indiana football fans and everybody at the Indiana football, where you have an obligation now, not just to put on for your fans and try to win a football game, but you've got recruits from other sports who are choosing to see your sport. So all of that has to connect. We've had an episode about that here on the show, but there's also the players reunion this weekend for Indiana basketball. So this is a good one to kickstart it, right? It's been a while since you have an official visit come through. This sort of kicks everything off, and this is a really good opportunity to do that if you're Indiana. And with Jalen Haralson, I think we're right there. I think we're in the top 3, and I think a solid visit here could lock it down. The goal, of course, is for a commit to show up on the official visit and say, you know what? I've made my decision. To heck with all my other visits. I want to commit right now, coach. I want to commit to you and your program right now before I leave this state, before I leave this city, whatever the case may be. That's the goal. Now, is that going to happen every time? No. Is that going to happen most of the time? No. Is that going to happen a lot or even some of the times? No, not really. That's pretty rare, but it's still the goal, right? It's still the goal that every single college program in America, football, basketball, swimming and diving, whatever, when you get that kid on campus, you want them to commit before they leave. We'll see if that happens with Jalen Haralson or any of the other guys that are on the official visit list. But I'm telling you right now, you've got to go after them and give it everything you got, because I fear if you don't get them now, you won't get them at all. And I'm not saying you got to get them right now on this weekend or whatever weekend that they show up, but this is your time to sell them. This is your last chance to sell them, give the pitch, and tell them why Indiana is the place they want to be. Well, coming up on Locked On Hoosiers, we'll take a look at that official visit list as it stands right now. We have some locked in, some we feel good about, and some we just got to wait and see. We'll have that for you coming up next on Locked On Hoosiers. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by Ultimate College Football HC. Hey, Locked On Hoosiers fans, I want to take this moment to give you a heads up on a brand new mobile game that I think you're going to love as much as I do. It's called Ultimate College Football HC. In this amazing game and simulation, you get to step into the shoes of a head coach and lead your college football program to glory. Can you imagine actually being the head coach of the Indiana Hoosiers? From recruiting players and hiring coaching staffs to overseeing training camps and handling school scholarships, you control every crucial detail of your program. It's all in your hands. Will you be able to handle that pressure? And here's what I really love about the game. You are responsible for calling offensive plays during the games. Your strategy will not only determine the success of your football season, but will shape the future and legacy of your program. Ultimate College Football HC is completely free, has no ads, and is 100% playable offline. You can play on the go as you want and when you want to. And of course, we've got a special offer for you for all of our Locked On Hoosiers fans. Use the promo code Locked On College Football. That's Locked On CFB, all caps, inside the game store to receive a free boost to your program. Make sure to take advantage of this perk as it will get your team off to a strong start. To download the game, just visit ultimate-cfb.com, ultimate-cfb.com, or look it up in your app store. Ultimate College Football HC. Begin your coaching legacy today. Welcome back into Locked On Hoosiers. Thank you so much for being here again. Shout out to all of my everydayers, those of you that show up each and every day, Monday through Friday. You are appreciated. If you want to help out the show, since it's free to you every single day, and we're so happy that you're here, and if you're looking for a free, easy way to support the show, audio listeners, you can turn on notifications, follow us on those platforms. Doesn't matter which one. That helps us out. Make sure that you're here every day. And for our video watchers on YouTube, be sure you like the video. All right, comment down below, which official visitor do you think the Hoosiers will land in terms of basketball? Which one is it going to be? Who will come to campus and end up being an Indiana Hoosier? Drop that in the comments below. And then the best way to help us, hit our show logo and hit the subscribe button on YouTube. We are so close, ladies and gentlemen. I'll give you a live update this morning, live as we're recording. We are at 2,796 subscribers. So we are pushing towards 28 and then 29 and then 3,000. So if you have not done that yet, be sure you subscribe to us on YouTube. It's free, it's easy, and it helps support the show. So thank you so much for that. Well, speaking of all of these players that are coming, let's give you a little bit of a reminder on what this official visit looks like for Indiana. And as I mentioned, and as most of you know, it starts this weekend with Jalen Haralson, top 15 player in the 2025 class. He will be here on campus with week 1 of college football, with the Indiana Players Reunion. That was not by a coincidence, by the way. So he'll be here on this weekend, August 30, 31, 30, and September 1, I guess. Labor Day next weekend. Nice. I totally forgot about that. Braylon Mullins will be here on September 20th, along with Trent Sisley, right? They'll be here on September 20th. So about 3 weeks from this visit. So about less than a month from now. But I still feel really good that both of those visits happen. Obviously, one of their teammates backed out with his commitment to Kentucky, but that is okay. Braylon Mullins and Trent Sisley will be here on September 20th. Eric Reeby, for now, has it locked in on October 4th. That is officially locked in. Now, whether he makes it to that visit or not, I don't know. That seems to be a big theme nowadays, where when you have visits locked up, the closer you get, the more scared you kind of get, right? Because these guys could commit somewhere else and never even go on their official visits. But I have a good feeling that Reeby will make it on October 4th, top 50 player in the country. And then there are 2 right now that are in the works, Nate Ament and Mikel Brown. Now, Ament is the big guy. Brown is the guard. I think both of them happen, but don't be surprised if they don't. And I'll kind of leave it at that. And you're talking about 2 top 10 players in the country, which is incredible to think about. The fact that you can have 2 top 10s, a top 15, a top 25, a top 50, and a top 75 player, all taking official visits between August and sometime in October. Like, that's pretty impressive. That's really, really impressive. So as of right now, you've got 4, could be up to 6, could be up to more, I guess, if somebody else were to come out of the blue, but I don't think that's going to happen. So to break this down a little bit, the ones that you have locked in are really, really good. Haralson, Mullins, Sisley, and Reeby. Those are really, really solid. And the goal with those is what? 2 out of 4, 3 out of 4, 4 out of 4. I don't know. You tell me. What do you want? What do you want to see out of those 4? I think the Hoosiers feel really good with 3 out of 4. I think they feel incredible with Mullins, who I know there's been smoke there. I know there's been smoke, but don't worry. Indiana's fine. Okay. I think we feel good about Mullins. I think we feel good about Sisley. And I think we feel good about Jalen Haralson. I really, really do. And I'll say this. I feel that Mullins and Sisley are a package deal at Indiana. I think if you get one, you get both. And that would probably be getting Sisley and then getting Mullins, because I don't think they're both being recruited by all the same schools. You know what I'm saying? Like, there is a little bit of crossover at times, but if Mullins were to go to UConn or something like that, I don't know if Sisley would go. I don't know what that situation is. And so, but I do think if they go to the same school, it will be Indiana. Now, you got to start, looking at different positions and who's been where and who's already committed where and things like that. But, and I think the Hoosiers are in for Jalen Haralson too. I think we're right there. Whether we get him or not, we'll have to wait and see. And then Eric Reeby, right? It's such a wild card with him. The fact that you got an official visit was huge. It was massive for Indiana. And that's a guy like him that kind of blew up on the scene and the Hoosiers got involved. I'm not going to say late, but later than some. That's a real now or never situation because you got one big shot. He's going to show up on campus and you're going to be like, all right, here's what we got. What do you think? And he's either going to take it or he's going to leave it. And that's it. He's a true now or never situation with the theme of this episode today. And I'll say this about him. If you get him, it's awesome. It's a miracle. It's fantastic. It would be such a big win for Indiana. But I don't think it's just the absolute end of the world if we don't. Does that make sense to you? I just don't think it's going to be this, oh, man, what do we do now? We didn't get him. What happened? How did we mess up? What was it? Something we said? Did our breath smell bad? Did we wear the wrong clothes? No, I don't think that's the case at all. I just think he is a very highly recruited basketball player that the Hoosiers were not the front runners on and have since put themselves in position to be a front runner. So I think he either commits early, like right there, right around his official visit, or you probably don't get him. I could be totally wrong on that, but I just kind of feel that's how it is with him. And then if you do happen to get Brown or a Mint on campus, watch out, because then great things could happen. And those guys are now or never. You have to get them right then and there, I think, because they're so highly recruited and have had so many sales pitches and will have had so many sales pitches by the time they do come on a visit here that, yeah, you got to throw everything at them, right? Everything in the pantry at them and just say, what do you think? Here's what we are. Here's what we got. Here's what we can do. What do you think? And if you get them, great. If not, then you move on and you feel good about what you have, what you could get, and then what the portal could bring you in the future. But this is a really good list. It's a really, really good list. And we'll have episodes leading up to all of these visits, including Jalen Haralson this weekend for Indiana basketball. If you just got to go get some, you can't strike out, right? That's the big thing that we're all somewhat worried about and maybe don't want to admit, but I will. We don't want to strike out. You have to get somebody. You'd like to get multiple somebodies in this recruiting class because we've worked so hard. We've been in every battle right now, and we just haven't gotten them yet, right? We haven't got that victory, and we need one. We need to see one. We need to see one go through the basket, right? We need to hit that 2-foot jumper or the 2-point jumper and just take a breath, relax, and then get back to work. We need that in recruiting. Don't strike out. Hit on one, and I think more will come if you're Indiana basketball and Mike Woodson. And so, again, Haralson this weekend, Mullins and Sisley coming up. Now or never. Make your final pitch. What are you going to say? What makes us different from every other basketball program in the country? That is what you have to tell them right now. Well, coming up on our final segment on Locked On Hoosiers, I saw an article and a couple of articles. It's been passed around everywhere now that Indiana is open and seeking sponsorships on the field at Memorial and the floor at Assembly Hall. We'll talk about that in our final segment on Locked On Hoosiers. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. I take 5 Hour Energy all the time. I go and I was getting them at the gas station. I'll get them at the store sometimes. I really just get them wherever that I can. And my favorite time to have a 5 Hour Energy is right after lunch, okay? Tired after lunch. You're not alone because I do it too. And I have a problem with eating too big of a lunch because it gets me out of the office for a little bit. And then I eat too much. And then I'm miserable. And I do an afternoon sports talk show. And I'm dying by 2 o'clock when that rolls around. So I take a 5-hour energy. And it gets me where I need to go, take the leap over the wall instead of crashing right into it. And it helps me so much for my sports talk show and just to get me through the rest of the day. With zero sugar and a convenient portable size, it's the perfect pick-me-up for getting stuff done. The 5-Hour Energy website has flavors galore like watermelon, tropical burst, grape, berry, and more. There is even a flavor for everyone. Try them all today. On the site, you even have the option to build your own 12-pack or 24-pack, which is what I've started doing. You choose the flavors, and it is delivered right to your door. If you go to 5hourenergy.com, that's the number 5hourenergy.com, and get some 5-Hour Energy product today, you can use my promo code Locked On College Football. That's Locked On CFB, just the letters, and receive 20% off your order. This offer is only valid until September 30th on one order. It cannot be used with other promotions. The code is not good on subscription orders. Go to 5hourenergy.com today. Final segment here on Locked On Hoosiers. Thank you again for being here. Shout out to all of my everydayers. You are amazing. And if you're looking for your second listen, your second watch today, go check out 2 shows. I plug them all the time because I watch these shows every single day. I'm telling you. Locked On College Football right now, since it is week 1 of college football, right? And week 0 did not disappoint. All right, Locked On College Football with Spencer and Locked On College Basketball with Isaac and Andy. 2 guys we've had on this very program here on Locked On Hoosiers. So go check those guys out. Finish up here. Then just search Locked On College Football and Locked On College Basketball. Put that into your rotation. Make that your second and third watch every single day. Well, I saw some articles around that Indiana has made it known that they are open to corporate logos being inside on the field on Memorial Stadium and on the floor at Assembly Hall. And you know, this topic is one that I've covered and been on for a long, long time. The statement that Indiana released, and I'm not going to read all of it. I'm not going to read any of it. You can go find it for yourself. It's kind of boring, but I've been talking about this for quite some time. And at the end of the day, the graphic here is right. It's all about the money. And for a lot of college athletics fans, football, basketball, what have you, tradition is being broken and people are really upset about it. And I totally understand, right? The classiness of college football is going away, right? No, college football is better than that. We're not going to sell out these 19-year-old kids. We're not going to do that. No, we'll leave that to the NFL and to the NHL and to NASCAR and whatever. The professional sports can go and do that. But then we started slowly working this into allowing things like this to happen. NIL, gambling commercials, advertising in the stadiums, like all of these things have come about and started to become very popular. And I was waiting on this. And this is the one of the big steps that a lot of places are taking, where you're going to start seeing logos everywhere, because that's the world we live in, right? And people got to make money, and they're looking to make more money because it's all about the money. Don't ever forget that, Hoosier fans. It's not about you. It's not about the players. It's not about the school. It's not about the coaches. It's not about the students. It's about the money, and whatever they will do, whatever it takes to make the most money. And they is whoever has power, whoever has a decision-making power will do whatever it takes to make more money for themselves and for their organization. So don't forget that. Just always keep that in mind, okay? And with that comes this step forward in college athletics where, yeah, you'll see logos on the field at Memorial. You're going to see logos on the court at Assembly Hall, running down the ends and on the sides and on the middle of the floor. Like, you're going to see that. Be ready for it. You know, in the NBA, how they wear logos on their jerseys? Yeah, that's coming too. Don't you worry. Same thing will happen in football. All of that's going to be a thing. And I don't like it, but it is what it is. I could sit here and complain for 30 minutes about how I don't like it. Or I could just tell you that I don't like it and then accept it and kind of move on. Just be ready for it, though. And there will be a lot of you that don't like it. And unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about it. There's absolutely nothing that we can do. The good part of this is, yes, hopefully Indiana will make more money, and that can be used to benefit the students and the student athletes and the fans and the people that actually put their time and effort into this thing. Hopefully, that's the goal. We'll see if they do the right thing. And so I'm looking at it from the positive side. I hope that you do as well, but just keep that in mind. You're going to start seeing logos. I mean, the naming rights of buildings, right? You see it in professional sports all the time, but heck, Pitbull, the rapper, just sponsored, what was it, FIU's football stadium? Yeah, more of that's coming too. So just be ready, okay? No more college being separate from the NFL and that dividing line of all the money that used to separate the two. That got crossed a long time ago. And now college will do everything they can to catch up and be just like professional sports. Well, that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers. Thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate it. Always having a good time with Locked On Hoosiers. Be sure that you like the video, comment down below your thoughts on field advertising, court advertising, and then Indiana basketball recruiting. And be sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's the best, easiest way to support our free show to you. We're here Monday through Friday, which means we will be back tomorrow. So until then, Hoosier fans, stay safe, and I'll talk to you later.